Hello and welcome to another randomized gaming video on Destiny. This is the next installment and here we go with the second mission in the story mode, which I'll be playing on hard. Although annoyingly, as some of you may notice from the beta, they've nerfed the difficulty somewhat. On the hard it was actually level 5 for the beta, but in the new version, or in the full game, it's level 3, which is a bit disappointing as I found the original beta version far challenging. So we're going to have a quick gander through. And admittedly I've been a bit slow on the uptake of getting these Destiny videos out, so I'm going to be getting out quite a few this week. But there's old Dinklebot, as some people have been calling the Ghost, and there he's explaining the mission as always. Now this is the Archon mission, and admittedly this was one everyone was running through during the Queen's missions because this was the easiest one to do, and you can run through it in literally about 2 minutes. And I'm actually going to pretty much speed run this mission, except during the recording a public event occurred, so I participated in it. Unfortunately, I was the only person in this public event, which kind of makes a bit of a mockery of the public events. And unfortunately, when you're level 2, it didn't go so well. Right, so this is the second mission in the game, as you know. This is when we have to find the down ship. And basically, I pretty much tried to speed run this as fast as possible. There are 1 ghost and 1 golden chest you can get in this mission, and I'll show both of you as we go on. So here we are clearing out the usual vandals, etc. Really enjoyed the design of the enemies, they're quite nice. A few people have said the Fallen are a little close to some elements of the Covenant. I think the Dregs are very close to the little guys who I can't remember the name of from Halo, but aside from that, the Vandals are a bit close to the Elite, but it's nice enough. So this is the first ghost you can pick up on this stage. And don't worry, as I said before, if you missed them you can pick them up in patrol. And I'm actually going to, again, do a quick patrol video later on where I pick them all up. I also believe I recorded these videos just after the auto rifle nerf, so it's still quite efficient, the auto rifle, but it's not quite as good as it used to be. And certainly at later tiers the auto rifles aren't as good. Now I do wish Bungie would be a tad more careful when doing these nerfs, because they don't want Mass Effect 3 where they... For those who don't know, if you played Mass Effect 3, the game got nerfed to pieces, and by the end the multiplayer was so badly nerfed no classes were really usable and it wasn't that much fun, so everyone just stopped playing, which is not what you want to happen with the multiplayer.
Our only hope is where we found our ship. We have to go back.
So here we go, we find the warp drive, and as I was coming out...
Watch it!
Yep, there's the public event, and I also went the wrong way there. I've been able to speedrun this mission in about 2 minutes because you can literally run down from when you get the prompt for the ship as you're doing the ghost to the thing and actually get there before he's finished talking about pulling the message from the ship. So here we go, the public events. Certainly if you don't know, public events are always worth doing, because if you complete one and get a gold tier, the first one you do each day, you get a bonus package which can contain a mote of light, a strange coin, ascendant energy or ascendant shards. And as everyone knows, as ascendant energy and shards are so rare, you really do want to get some. Even my level 28 hunter, which I've got on another account, is annoying because I'm still struggling to find... I've got like 6 exotic weapons now, and I've got no ascendant energy to power them up, so I'm having to do it very, very slowly. So as you can see, this is the public event. This is the extraction event. This occurs in the steppes areas. This is quite a common one, although it doesn't necessarily occur all the time. It's quite an easy event, but for a level 2 character I was struggling without any backup. But I did manage to defeat the first extraction site, but the second one was a tad tricky without the decent gear. I think had it been level 3 I've been able to do it, but level 2 I was struggling a bit with the level 5 enemies. Yeah, the objective one is just to kill the enemies. Basically, this is almost like a horde mode, this event, where basically they spawn at the point and you have to kill them within the very limited time limit. And there's this high servitor. As you can see, my gun, the grenade was doing quite a bit of damage, but the gun just wasn't going to kill him quick enough. And the other thing is, when they're level 5s, they kill you pretty swiftly as well.
Not much longer.
There is actually a website for public events that someone's come up with. It's an interesting, nice little website that gives you a rough rundown on when they're going to occur. It's not 100% accurate, but it does the job enough so you can farm them with relative ease. They are also random as well if they actually occur. And if you're actually going to search, look for public events, the best way to do it is to, if you're going to have a couple of friends and you want to search for public events, each of you should go down into a different instance of the game. So basically, each of you should go into a different version of the game, which we'd call instance, because basically each area, so this area here, the steps, there'll be about 15 versions of it in the servers at any one point, which the PS3 players can access. So you want each of your friends to go in a different version instance, because that way you might not get a public event in your instance, but one of your friends could get an event in their instance. So as soon as you do, you walk into their instance and you get the event done. So that way you pretty much get an event in every area you're boosting in if you're going for it that way. Okay, here is the first gold chest. And it's a gauntlet from yesterday, as I remember. Yes.
Scanning for the warp drive. Bad news. It's already in.
Now I should point out it's actually only worth getting the public chests when you first do all the story missions, because the gear you get from them is pretty rubbish. I think one of the best ones gives you a single strange coin, but again, single coin isn't that much helpful, and basically the gear's great for the first time you play through the story mode. If however you do other modes and then come into the story mode, so the gear you'll get from them is often out of date. In fact, my main hunter character, I did quite a bit of Crucible and Strikes. By the time I was opening the gold chest later on, the gear I was getting was well below what I already had. So it's basically, it's only really worth getting them if you're doing it first time round, because the gear doesn't change in the chest, it's all preset. Now this is the Archon boss, I should say, which you may remember during the beta video I did struggle a bit with, if you saw the beta one. So I spent like 30 or 40 minutes doing this in the beta, but this time around I absolutely wing it. Now I can't remember if I died the once or if I cleared in the first time. Don't know why I was actually using the shotgun, because the shotgun's probably the worst weapon for PvE. It's great for dealing with mobs, low level mobs, but nothing else. It's not very good for dealing with bosses, and a lot of people are complaining about the nerf. I think Bungie need to really seriously rethink the shotgun weapons as they are currently, because they're okay in PvP. Even with the nerf, they're still quite usable once you're powered up. I've got a Comedian in with my hunter character, and that is a ridiculously powerful shotgun. I also have Invictus as well, which is the exotic one, or Invictis. Those ones are really good, but most of the standard ones, again, they're great for PvP because you can take people at point range, but against PvE they're only good for mopping up weak mobs. They're not good for mopping up high level mobs because you'll get killed long before you can shoot them all down. And certainly don't use them in the Vault of Glass. I've also now actually finished the Vault of Glass raid, which is quite interesting. Rictus the Devil Archon. There was quite a few quests to get killing this guy as well, and the Queen's ones, as I mentioned earlier, which why everyone was farming him, because he is by far the easiest mission to actually... Basically, he's the easiest boss in the game because he's got such a short mission to get to.
I hope you're ready for this.
And there's me failing spectacularly. Well, I think my gripe was I was running low on ammo when I died in this one because the game was not dropping ammo. It was a bit of a pain. Oh, it's one of my slight pet gripes that the ammo doesn't drop quite as much as it should do in game. Certainly in single player you should get a sort of ammo buff if you're playing on your own because you are limited. Although the enemies do seem to take reduced damage, that's one thing I have noticed. Certainly in 2 and 3 player mode the enemies do seem to take more damage. They seem to scale up depending on how big your team is. The other fact here is I've actually got a damage reduction because I'm a level below these enemies. What's basically figured out is the level up system is a little bit weird in this game. It's not like a traditional stat boosting RPG. Basically the game seems to run a check on what level you are and what level the enemies are, and then applies a damage penalty to whoever is lower. So if you are shooting up level 3 enemies as I am here, I think I have a 20% in that region damage minus to all my shots. Every single shot and attack will have a minus 20% damage to it. It's certainly noticeable during the Vault of Glass and Nightfall Strikes, which is some of the later mechanics, which I've managed to solo a couple now, where I'm noticing when I went from level 27 to 28, the additional damage I was suddenly doing was noticeable. It made them an awful lot easier, the missions. So here we go, it's nearly down. This is certainly one of the easiest missions in the game. And there's the Grimoire for defeating the boss. You know, I should point out, you can get killed here, but if you get killed at this point, you don't have to replay the boss battle because the darkness zone ends as soon as you kill Rictus. Or however you meant to pronounce that Archon today.
You just killed
Interesting, there was an earlier beta, and in the beta he actually came out of the room,
We need to go see the speaker.
the central room where you find the second dead ghost in the first mission originally. There was I think it was an IGN video where you can see him coming out, because there's basically the hole in that wall is in, if you see the hole where he came from, is actually in another room earlier on in the tutorial mission, and that originally there was a show from a beta version of the game and originally came out of that wall. So not sure why they changed it, but they have made a few creative changes there. Also, I appear to have a bit of a slight cold. It makes some fun when I have to re-edit my voice out afterwards and breathing. And now it's back to the speaker, as you may remember this intro. And interestingly, for those who don't know, Bill Nighy is actually the voice of the speaker. And he's another actor who was completely wasted on this game because he's got next to no dialogue, which is a real shame. And you've got Peter Dinkle, who's got a few lines. But interestingly, I noticed in, as I was saying about one of the IGN videos, they were looking at the game earlier, or certainly it was the E3 video, Peter Dinklage in a couple of scenes had very different dialogue, and I suspect one of the reasons why the voice actors don't necessarily give the best performances, I think they've recorded this voice acting more than once and then had to redo it, which if you're a voice actor you're not going to be too best pleased with.
Until it wakes and finds its voice.
Yeah, that's about one of the two major cutscenes the speaker's in. It's a shame. It's a real waste of Bill Nighy's talents. He's a good actor, but and there's quite a few other actors I mentioned earlier that are just totally underused in the game.
To seek out those who can wield its light as a weapon. Guardians, to protect us and do what the Traveler itself no longer can.
What happened to it?
I could tell you of the great battle centuries ago. How the Traveler was crippled. I could tell you of the power of the darkness, its ancient enemy. There are many tales told throughout the city to frighten children. Lately, those tales have stopped. Now,
I should point out I have actually worked on a game where we did use the voice talents of Bill Nighy, but I was a lowly QA tester back then, so certainly didn't get to meet. You didn't get to meet actors when you're that low, only if you're a producer or something.
survive it this time.
Its armies surround us. The Fallen are just the beginning.
What can I do?
You must push back the darkness. Guardians are fighting on Earth and beyond. Join them. Your ghost will guide you. I only hope he chose wisely.
I did. I'm sure of it. We're in this together now.
Right, this video is coming to an end, so that's me, Random Gamer Rhythm, signing off. But stay tuned for more Destiny videos. I will be getting some more out in the next week. I've got a few other things to do, but I'm going to, on top of that, so expect some big updates on the blog and the YouTube channel in the next day or two.